Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of r/books where we read the newest posts under the topic, so many books, so little time. If that sounds like fun, grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's get cozy. Okay, I had so much fun doing this last time. I can't wait to see what the newest posts are for this week. So Dane Law Rocket Floss says, what book did you almost abandon but ended up absolutely loving? Great question. Okay, let's see what Dane Law says. I read Catch 22 twice, both times getting almost halfway and hating it, not getting it. For some reason, I tried a third time a year or so later and now regard it as one of my most favorite books ever. That's such a good point. Sometimes with books, it's all about the timing, the moment that you're at in your life, whether something's going to resonate with you, whether it hits you differently than it did before. I'm glad I stuck with it. I had similar but less intense experiences with quite a few nonfiction books. Count of Monte Cristo, too. It took me a while to get into and familiar with the language, but once it took hold of me, it was amazing. Oh my gosh, I feel like I have so many books like that. One that's coming to mind is a nonfiction by Gabby Bernstein. The Universe Has Your Back. When I first picked it up, it didn't. It didn't really hit me. When I first picked it up, it wasn't like, yes, I'm going to stick with this, even though it's teachings that really resonate with me. Until I was pregnant with Willard, and a lot of fear was coming up. It's a lot of pressure carrying a little bit. It's a lot of pressure carrying a little baby in your belly and like being responsible for their well-being inside of you. Whew. So I was having a lot of anxiety come up, and my mom recommended that book, and I was like, I actually had this on my shelves. So I read it, and it was so supportive. It got me through so many moments of anxiety, the specific exercises that she gives you, the specific breathing techniques, the meditations. It was all very supportive for that moment in time. A fiction book. Okay, I just browsed through my Goodreads and it totally happened with Anansi Boys by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman. I almost put that book down and I ended up giving it 5 stars. I loved it. For some reason in the beginning, I just wasn't sinking into it, but I'm really, really glad that I stuck with that one. Let's see what some other people's comments are. Oh, Middlesex. I struggled with it until the families made it to the States. One of my favorites now. Yes, I really enjoyed that one too. It's Jenya says The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It was so slow, I almost gave up on it. I never read that. I watched the movie, but I haven't read that book. JJ Drinking Coffee said I'm stuck on Count of Monte Cristo. I just have to stick through it. Um, Cuckoo Song, Doctor Strange, and Mr. Norrell. Okay, so I started this one and DNF'd it. Maybe I should go back. I remember the first 50% being so slow. Do you guys know that book? It's huge. 50% being slow. Oh, it's tough to get through some of those big chunkers. Just felt a bit meandering, but boy, I am glad I kept going with it. It was amazing. Okay. What do you guys think? Have you read that one? Maybe I'll give it another shot. Awesome. Let's see what our next post is. Ooh, this one looks good. I don't feel bad for reading short books, and neither should you. Yeah, neither should you. By AC Med Ahmed. I've gotten into reading in the past couple of years, mainly to educate myself on economics, politics, labor, social movements. I've also started to hone my fictional taste by reading some old Western dime novels and mystery books. Ooh, that's fun. Over the years, I've realized something. I love short books. I like the fact that the short nonfiction books I read get right to the point. Sometimes they're designed to give a brief overview of an otherwise vast topic, while other times they're very specific and detailed. In the online book community, I occasionally come across opinions about ideal book length. I don't think any of these people are trying to gatekeep, they're just outlining their personal tastes. Some of these opinions seem to put short books at the bottom of the list. Why bother with an 80-page book? How could you possibly get into something that's so short? Are you just trying to pad your Goodreads numbers? Yikes. I'm glad I haven't come across these people in my booktube world yet. I think reading is amazing. Doesn't matter if you're reading long books or short books. I mean, if you want to compare like people's end of the year number, it's I guess I guess it can be nice to know what the page length was, but yeah, I'm on board. If you want to read short books, go for it. Go for it. I think you can get just as into a world in a short book. Okay. Let's see. I love a good novella, lost art, which it would come back. Some short novels have a larger emotional psychological impact than some bloated whales full of useless pearls and boring thrills. But yeah, like you don't want to just pad your word count in a book too. It's just more expensive to read short books. That's my main complaint. That's funny. What about libraries? I know not everyone has access to the library. Is this really an issue for some people? Oh, recommendations that are less than 100 pages. That would be a great video to watch or to do. Awesome. Let's see what's next. Ooh, Moppy Mims. Great question. How have books brought you comfort during lockdown? I find books can bring a sense of comfort as well as escapism. During these stressful and uncertain times, what's been the book that gives you hope, makes you feel like everything will be okay, or just feels like a warm hug? Whether that's a book of poems, a book of a play, or a novel, I would love to hear what literature brings you that good, sweet embrace feeling. Is it the entire storyline, certain plot points, or the effect of the writing style that has brought you comfort? Discuss it all here. I read Happy Days by Samuel Beckett a few months ago, and that was pretty interesting. How Winnie was stuck in the mound, and her only source of entertainment was her thoughts, prattling on about them to her husband, and following her daily routine as she was drifting in the vast sea of madness. Ooh, I haven't read that one. Possibly comparable to how many of us have felt in these lockdowns. If you have any books that have helped you stop from drifting in the vast sea of madness, please do share your experience. I love this question because reading has always been a source of comfort for me. I think that's why I've been such an avid reader most of my life, is that it's a great way to just escape. But I wouldn't even necessarily call it escapism. Yes, I've definitely done that before, but reading is just a great way to experience other realities, alternative worlds, to just have fun experiences, right? Just like watching a TV show, but there's something really powerful about reading and the ability to experience different characters and worlds and get to live as somebody else as you read. So books have definitely brought me comfort during lockdown. Any of the books that I read this past year were fiction, fantasy, and just helped me get into another world. Definitely loved what is it called? The Skybound trilogy. Awesome. I finished the second one. I want to read the third. That was a great escape. Um, the Sky series. That was really good too. I got into that. And then most recently, written and read the Other series. Obsessed. I'm reading the third one right now, and it's just so good. So yes, books definitely bringing comfort. Ooh, this is interesting. Tyler 7190. I only read nonfiction. As the title says, I almost exclusively read nonfiction books. It's always been in my head that if I'm taking the time to read, I may as well be learning something along the way. I know that this is causing me to miss out on some fantastic books, though. What benefits have you all gained in reading fiction throughout your reading career? Oh my gosh, there's so many ways to learn from reading fiction. We're learning empathy, we're learning to walk in other people's shoes, we're learning about different worlds and different cultures, and oh my gosh, you are absolutely learning if you're reading fiction. This is a great question. Great question. Sins of the Flesh says reading in general helps with building vocabulary, grammar, as well as speed of reading, improving memory. Aside from that, enjoyment. I read because books are my TV. Jennifer says, I've probably always been a somewhat empathetic person, well, other than middle school when I was a monster. Jennifer. We've all had moments, our brains, when we're that age, we just don't know what we're doing. But fiction helps you see things from a point of view you've never experienced and would never otherwise experience. Fiction lets you spend some time in someone else's life and you come away from the experience with better empathy. Of course, this works best if you don't just limit yourself to reading about characters who are like you. I love this. You will always learn something even when reading something entirely made up. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I believe stories are the best way to transmit knowledge on a deeper level. I love this. Oh my gosh. There are so many studies about the way that reading and reading fiction can impact our um, mental wellness, our brain functioning. It's just so supportive on so many levels. So a great question, Tyler 7190. Ooh, here's a good topic. Matthew 0361. My experience with reading multiple books at one time. I have been an on and off again reader for many years. However, only recently have I really found the compulsion to read. I'm reading a lot more nonfiction, currently reading How Emotions Are Made. Highly recommend, but there was an intersecting concept brought to my attention in a video I was watching about being a more engaged and avid reader. The creator of the video made a point about reading multiple books at a time. I could not believe this. I have been raised and around a one book at a time culture. For me, this was a preposterous idea. Although ridiculous, I decided to try it. I've definitely tried this strategy before, and I think it's true. Sometimes you need a break from that story, but you want to keep reading, so you can pick up another book. For me, I like them to be totally different genres, so I might be reading a fiction and nonfiction at the same time, or fantasy and a thriller, I guess I could do side by side. So I think I switch back and forth over the years, but there's definitely benefits to reading multiple books at a time. Via says, this is how I read. Multiple books at once make me read more and enjoy reading when one book gets stale. RJW says, is there something out there that tells people it is not right to read, listen, consume however they want? If so, stop reading, listening, consuming that. Yes. Yes, read, consume however you would like to. Ooh, here's a good one. Books that weren't ruined for you by being studied in school. Nurhachi 1616. A frequent refrain I see about the internet in IRL conversations is something to the effect of, I would have liked it, but analyzing it in school completely ruined it for me. And believe me, I get it. Much like a joke, a book needs to be dead for you to dissect it, and you can only analyze the bit about shooting Candy's dog so many times before you begin to question why anyone even likes books. But it's not always like that. Okay, so I loved a lot of books that I read in high school, college. I definitely understand that sometimes, like, really tearing apart books just makes them not enjoyable anymore. But I really liked Beowulf. That was one that stuck with me. I really liked A Midsummer Night's Dream. I really liked, there was a lot of classes that I took where you could choose your own books. So of course I really liked those ones. We had a class in high school called Struggle for Meaning. That was a combination of English and history. That's where we read Beowulf. We got to read some really interesting combinations and kind of compare them. So I definitely enjoyed a lot of my reads, but I did get burnt out after my undergrad and my grad from reading all together for a little bit. So, yeah, what books weren't ruined for you? Let's see what other people say. Pretty much all the books we read, I can still read and enjoy. Nice. The Odyssey, yes. Um, Don Quixote. Personally, analyzing books in school never ruined it for me. Great Gatsby, the things they carried. Oh, that was, oh, I did an interpretive dance with two of my friends to the things that they carried. I wish we still had the video footage. I'm sure it's just like, ah. But we had a lot of fun putting it together. Let's just say silver spandex suits. Most of my English class enjoyed Of Mice and Men, Roll of Thunder. Oh, Lord of the Flies. Yes, yes, absolutely love that one. Ooh, Frankenstein. Yes, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was really, really good. Awesome. This is a great one. Okay, let's find one more to do together. Okay, so I feel like I'm reading books wrong. Interesting. Hey everyone, I feel like I'm reading wrong. When I was in high school, I would read slowly to make sure I understood every single detail in the book. It took me a lot longer to finish, but I didn't have this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that I'm reading the material wrong. Recently, I decided to read at a quicker pace, and while I don't grasp every detail like before, I'm still able to know the direction that the book is going. With this method, I have this feeling that I'm cheating the system or myself and that I should slow down and savor each and every detail in a book. Is there a correct way to read a book? Am I reading wrong by going at a quicker pace? No! Read whatever feels good for you, especially if you're not reading for school and you don't need to write an essay on it or take a question. Then just read as fast as you want or as slow as you want. There's no correct way to read a book. There are, what?
That's how I read.
Come over here. Slower or faster?
I read very slow. No, I skip things that aren't making sense.
You gotta get in here. Say hi. Ooh, closer. This is the camera.
That's the way I read.
Yeah, so slow or fast, go for it. There is no correct way. And if you're enjoying it at the quicker pace, then definitely enjoy it.
Skip half the book.
Skip half the book. Tyler doesn't finish the second half of any book. Totally works. Okay, awesome. That's another round of r/books. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out. Thank you for spending time here, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye, guys.